Let me pull up YouTube and see what it's doing.
Okay, Izzy's moving now.
217. She's moving.
Do I need to kick it off?
Says it's connected still.
Yeah,
However,
it's moving on YouTube.
Okay, it's moving on YouTube. Okay, click, click, boom. Yes, we are live now. Fantastic. Okay. There we go. Yes, Trisha witnessed it. There we go. Okay, we seem to be good. Do we see sticks waving? Yes, we see sticks waving on the screen. Perfect. Okay, so anyway, is what it is. As we know, this week's prompt was to use the line and finish the sentence. In the darkness, only two hunched shadows gave any clue as to. I'm scared with what y'all came up with.
Absolutely.
Why did you do that? What the hair? Does this to me every time. Hey, we'll just cover Stick's face up.
Perfect. I love it.
Oh, darn. It turned over and went somewhere else. Oh, darn. We got to look at Sticks. Shucks. Such a hardship to have to do that.
It is.
Please note I'm being so fucking sarcastic, it's not even funny.
I'm not.
I know the internet is connected. Click here to retry. Come on, click here to retry. There we go. Loading back up. Thank you so very much, you worthless piece of shit. Okay! Is everybody ready?
Ready when you are.
I see the wheel doing a whole bunch of things, but spinning is not one of them.
Spinny, spin, spin.
Samuela! We are back to our historical fiction of Civil War spies. In the shade of the water tower, only 2 hunched shadows gave any clue as to the plot against the president. Hercules Vargas took care where his own shadow fell, overlooking the 2 Confederates in their sniper nest. One was looking for the signal from their fellow Confederates, while the other was adjusting his aim according to the bright pennants near the balcony where President Grant was going to speak. Hercules could see the gleam of his gringo's top hat on his 15th mission along the same street, accompanied by the deceptively simple wicker that was Mr. Ronan's headwear, now slowed by the simpler cloth caps of the Confederates who should be giving the signal. Whatever the signal was, it wouldn't matter. The Confederates in the crowd were closing in on that crazy gringo. Hercules had to tear his gaze away now that the larger force of lookouts was distracted. It was his job to deal with the sniper and his lookout. The latter of the two was about to be distracted by where his allies were going. He kept behind their backs, a simple cord taut between his fists. Since it came from the sallow mermaid, it was one of Lottie's optional extras for discerning clientele. She said it was very strong. It was also already blood red, so any staining wouldn't easily show. He was short. They were bent over. He had to be silent, getting close enough. He had to be quick when he got there, or he would be dead. They didn't have to shoot him. Just tossing him off this roof would be enough. Damn! What in the hell? The lookout murmured. Ain't got no idea what riled him up, but this must have seen something important. He lowered the telescope. Hercules struck before the Confederate could summon another word, leaping up to wrap the cord around the enemy's neck, using his weight to drag the lookout backwards and every ounce of his strength to pull the silken cord tighter. It was pure dumb luck that the telescope landed on the Confederate's discarded coat, thus making no noise as the strangling man dropped it. Hairy fists raised to try and punch Hercules. Filthy fingers clawed at the cord. It was taking too long. The sniper said something. Hercules couldn't hear it over the blood rushing in his ears, over the pounding of his heart. The cord bit into Hercules' fingers, burned them. He could feel the Confederate's heartbeat through his own shins. The punches got weaker. Movements got slower. Legs trembled. Failed. Hercules could put his feet to the floor of the rooftop again. He could look up and see that the sniper had realized where his friend was. The gun to kill the president had turned on them. It had the power to put a bullet right through the both of them. It could only fire once. The sniper swore, dropped his weapon onto the same coat that had caught the telescope, went scrambling for another in the pile of supplies to one side. Hercules tried to think fast. How to shoot back when both his hands were full of strangling a man? Would he shoot his friend to shoot Hercules? Could he? Was it possible to shoot one man and get back to strangling the other? Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Hercules didn't know what to do, which one to pick. Freeze forced itself on him as he watched the sniper draw a bead with his excavated pistol, slowly, as if his brain was trying to savor his last moments. Mother Mary, please do not let them bury me as a woman. He already had a murder on his soul. Did it count that he was killing to save so many others? That the man dying at Hercules' hands had killed others before this ending? Was asking this many fucking questions going to get him killed? He could see the sniper's fist beginning to tighten on the grip, and a dagger hilt suddenly sprouting from the sniper's right eye. A curse. The pistol fell. So did the sniper. Right off the roof. The Confederate under Hercules' hands became a literal dead weight. The vaquero almost let go. Keep holding it tight, said Captain Planche. He's just unconscious. It'll take him a while more to die. He'd half expected his gringo to rescue him. Somehow. Capitana? Try not to sound so disappointed. She smirked. She slotted a second dagger into a clever sheath under her waist sash. Captain Blanche surveyed the dying Confederate with scientific interest. That was a damn good dagger. Doubt I'll get it back. Loco gringo podria. Robarlo por ti? Let's not tempt fate while he's still healing, dear. In spite of the fact that he was still murdering a man, Hercules snorted. His gringo did have a bad habit of getting himself hurt, including the one from when they first met. He'd have to apologize for that one day. Soon. Spreading moisture and a foul smell emitted from the Confederate, Hercules moved his boots away from the noisome liquid. Now he's gone, judged Captain Planche. Hercules let the body drop, but kept the cord. Lottie had said it was expensive stuff. He didn't doubt it. That cord had just about cut through his hands, just as it had cut deep into the Confederate's neck. He massaged some life back into his hands as he uttered a short prayer for this pair of sinners. We stay here too long. Is time moving, see? See, agreed Captain Planche. I know another way down. We'll get to the street 3 buildings from here. Sí, siento que el gringo nos va a necesitar. Then we'd better hurry, Captain Planche led the way. Dun dun dun. Well then.
Got some Confederate Assassin's Creed stuff going on here.
Right, but we're also not talking about what that blood red silk cord was actually originally for. We're just not talking about that. Very nice, Betsa.
I'm liking where this story is going. It's very interesting with how the history is being woven in and everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, microbursts, not good. All right. Next victim. Yeah, I'm not even pretending anymore. Ace!
My earballs.
All right. I don't know what. Let me check which microphone I'm coming in real quick. Oh, I am on the desk mic. Okay. Can you guys hear me better now? Perfect. I thought I was on my headset mic this entire time. In the darkness, only 2 hunched shadows gave any clue to the delightful mischief that comes from the unusual nature of being a Stonebrook. Terran Stonebrook, loud and stubborn older brother of Marin, worked alongside Fader, Valeth of the Elves, on a device in secret. There had been much late-night trial and error, much secrecy, and many conversations with elk beasts to arrive at where they are now. "Hand me that hammer," whispered Terran. Fader handed him the hammer and whispered, "Light taps only. Let's try not to wake the entire government." Terran took the hammer and chuckled. "That's only Elder Mira. She doesn't come here late at night." Terran and Fader had chosen the ancient workshop in the center hut for its ease of entry and the lack of occupants late at night. During the day, only Brannock worked in there, and he had a family now. Tessa was now officially his daughter, and he had known Marin since she was born and always considered her family as well. And both of those girls would drag him from the workshop should he ever decide to work late. What about the time that Elder Mira surprised us at midnight? Taryn hissed. That was one time. She forgot her cloak. We remained hidden. She never saw us. Now hand me that elk beast antler. Fader handed him the small antler piece, remembering the time when it had broken. Fader had been on a ride with his elk beast when the beast suddenly slowed, approached a tree, and rubbed up against it with his antlers. What do you think you're doing? Fader had asked as a piece of antler broke off and fell to the ground. The elk beast just snorted. Fader had laughed and dismounted, saying, The tree was sleeping just fine. You didn't need to wake it by scratching it. The elk beast pawed the ground and grunted as Fader picked up the fallen piece. Fine, just warn me next time. It takes forever for your antlers to grow back. Back in the workshop, Taryn took the antler piece and placed it gently into a small hole. He then reached into his shoulder bag and pulled out a wrapped bundle. It was glowing faintly. Taryn, what do you have there? Asked Fader. Fader unwrapped the bundle, revealing a glowing white crystal. I'm going to rewind that. Taryn unwrapped the bundle, revealing a glowing white crystal. Something I got from one of the new elven merchants in the market. Is it safe? Taryn shook his head. Only if I do this wrong. He lifted a glass door on the device and placed the crystal gently inside. It clicked into place. Fader winced. I was protecting you from the truth, not the danger, said Taryn. Good, because even though elven merchants always test their wares, they don't always reveal the entire truth initially. Taryn stopped his work and stared at Fader. Who talks like that? Fader smiled and said, I do. Now, let's finish quickly. I want some sleep. Taryn closed the little glass door and said, It is finished. We are done. Fader's mouth dropped open. It is done? Now? Already? Taryn nodded. Yes. Place your hand over the crystal. Let's see if it works. Fader hesitated but rested his hand on the device, palm over the glass door. Now say the first thing that comes to mind. I know that I will sneeze, and that Ellerith will shatter around me. Fader quickly pulled back his hand and said nervously, Everyone knows that. You do it. Place your hand on it and say the first thing that comes to your mind. Taryn shook his head and said, No. Fader stood and blocked Taryn's path and whispered, I'm not letting you leave until you place your hand there and tell me something. Fine, Taryn whispered back and placed his hand on the device and said, I am proud of Marin. He quickly withdrew his hand and said, There. Happy now? Extremely, whispered Fader back, mischief blooming in his grin. The following day, Elder Mira sat in the center hut with Saren and Cylindra, cool cups of berry juice in front of them. Mira was recounting a story about the previous elder of her village, and Cylindra was taking notes in her journal when the reed curtain flew to the side, and Taryn and Fader flew into the room like a storm. Taryn set his device, a rectangle of polished black stone, not much bigger than a normal hand, with 2 dials, 1 slider, a piece of elk beast antler, and a small glass door covering a glowing white crystal onto the table in front of them. Taryn, Mira began, I hope this is something worthy of our time. We were having a pleasant conversation, and, might I add, we are not in our mansion yet. Taryn swept his hand in front of himself with a flourish and said, Elder Mira and Saren Cylindra, I present my latest invention, the Truth Device. Fader nudged him and said, Peacekeeper, it's called the Peacekeeper Device. Taryn nudged him back and said, Please, if you would just place your hand onto the device and say the first thing that comes to mind. Mira gave them a knowing look. Taryn and Fader immediately held up their hands and said, We both did it, and there are no visible scars. Mira laughed. The lack of visible scars does not mean the lack of internal trauma. She, alas, rose from her seat and placed her hand onto the device and said, Terence Stonebrook is loud and obnoxious and can wake half the village by breathing. She paused and looked at Taryn with a grin. See, I have no problem being open and honest, especially when it comes to ridiculous children like yourself. But I always do it out of love. Mira suddenly recoiled at the last statement, and Terran's smile widened into a wicked grin. Fader looked at Cylindra and said, My Saren, would you please give it a try? Cylindra rose from her chair and approached the device and placed her hand onto it. Her voice was little more than a whisper. Maithrin, you are far away. Cylindra lifted her hand to her cheek and wiped a single tear before turning to Fader and placing a hand onto his shoulder. You have done well, Fader. Dun dun dun.
What's going on?
I don't know. Sorry. It was the story over. I had to pull my headphones off because we had an AC issue that I had to
Yes,
go turn
we
on. My
dun dun
apologies.
dun. We have a
Okay.
truth. We now have a truth device made from a white crystal and a piece of elk antler that makes people speak the truth. Taryn is proud of his brother, his sister. Um, there's a crotchety old lady who likes to bully everybody, but apparently she does it because she likes them. And then we've got another lady who her only truth is that there's somebody far away, which leads us to there's a lot of missing information and context here, so we need more.
Yeah.
Gotcha. There we go. Very nice. Next up, Trisha.
Want me to take that one?
Yeah, you can. I just want to ask Des. You said who's echoing, just so we know.
Whenever anyone talks, I see Julie's going.
That
Okay.
almost always happens on backstage if one of us
Okay.
has camera off.
Gotcha. Sticks is. They're saying Sticks is going. Okay.
If you're going from desk mic, is there volume at all that's coming out of the computer that it could be picking up?
I swapped to my headset mic. Does that get rid of the echo, guys? It's a reverb. Oh, I hear it. I turned up the street. Oh, that means there's two microphones. Yeah. Okay, I made another change. Let's see how this does. Nope, still there. Okay, I had some hidden down at the bottom of my options. No, it's still there. Wow. All right, I might just have to drop, guys. You guys can finish this session without me.
If I'm fine with that if that's what you got to do. So, how's everyone doing? Well, we have no one else on the screen.
Here I am.
Oh, Julie's here. Just no camera. There's me.
I was having some technical difficulties.
Gotcha. Seems to be a theme tonight.
Well, I kept trying to turn my freaking camera back on. Camera wouldn't turn back on. Then I tried to turn my mic on to let everyone know what was going on, and my mic was lighting up, but it wasn't detecting me, and I'm like, oh shit. So I had to unplug and replug it back in and see if that worked. So, yay, we're good.
Oh, that worked, so. I am very tired.
So is Trisha the next one up, or is Trisha the one we just read?
We just read Ace. I think Trisha's the next one up. So I am going to go ahead and start
Are you
reading.
doing? Okay.
Yeah, I'm reading Trisha. Get it pulled up. Okay. The next few days went by without any issues. Work was actually going very well. I got promoted to assistant manager, which came with a raise. I celebrated by getting myself a TV and a streaming service. One night after work, I was watching TV and fell asleep. I woke up to an odd noise at the first thought. At first, I thought it was from the TV, but the noise was still there after I shut the TV off. I looked out the window, and in the darkness, I saw two shadowy figures that gave no clue there was something going on that was not quite right. I don't know what made me do this, but I opened the window and yelled at them as soon as they heard me. They looked up and ran. I went out the front door and ran down the steps. Or I went out the front door and ran down the steps. When I got outside, they were gone. I walked over to where they were, and there were some tools laying next to my car. It looked like they were trying to attach something to my car, and I decided I better call the police. When they came out, they looked at the tools and a small item I didn't notice. This looks like a GPS tracker, one of the officers said. Do you know why anyone would want to track you? The other officer asked. I started to say no, but I knew who. Yes, my mother and my brother. Why would they want to track you? The first officer asked. It's a long story, but the short version is I was attacked and infected with lycanthropy. My mother and brother wanted me to go back to Mississippi with them to have the preacher remove the demon from my body, I said. Do you think they were putting the tracker on your car? The first officer asked. No, they're both in jail here, I said. Do you know if they have someone helping them? The other officer asked. No, I don't, I answered. The officers had me repeat everything that happened to that night again. They said they would call if they had any information about what had happened, and they left. I went back up to my apartment, irritated. Dun dun dun!
What, Julie? You look a little concerned, pensive, angry, pissed off, like you're looking to give somebody a piece of your mind, possibly weasel something into a jail cell to murder somebody.
I agree with
I
that.
mean, you're not far off, but just throwing this out here because what we know of the story, since it's been on the show and everything like that. What if it's the uncle?
What if what's the uncle?
It's not mom and brother. Mom and brother are locked up. What if it's the uncle that tried to have the tracker put on her car? I mean, he'll do anything for a fucking sandwich. I mean, why the fuck not put a tracker on her car?
Fair.
I still, I still can't get over the fuck that he did that all for a fucking sandwich. It better have been a good fucking sandwich.
So, when you sit down and have a conversation with an author, it may not have been a sandwich.
Look, I've almost sprayed soda across Styx's dash twice in the amount of times in the amount of hours that I was riding with him. One of which he waited until I took a big swallow of my drink to do that to me. So now I am overly prepared when people are going to say something that might be shocking, and I'm just going to be like, swallow my drink. Yeah, I said it like that for a reason. Yes, I know he's locked up too, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have somebody on the outside that is willing to put the tracker on her car.
Yeah, hydrate or die straight.
Right. Any behoozles. Spinny spin spin.
Wilhelm F. Ruffy. Okay.
And we're back in Tidewater Kingdom.
Yes, we are. Okay. A cold autumnal breeze wafted over the gardens of Azure Palace, fluttering the hem of Jeherthing's green gown and sending a chill down her spine. She tried to focus on tending her roses, for one of the bushes needed a branch braced to keep from breaking off. Yet her mind turned again and again to the war. Her grip slipped as she imagined Tavir falling with an arrow through his heart, the thorny growth knocking into her skin. She hissed in pain, carefully pulling it away with her gloved hand as bright, crimson blood dribbled onto the grass below. My lady! Her maiden Jala exclaimed, the woman knocking over a pail and rushing to take hold of Jairthing's arm. It's only a little blood, Jairthing replied, her eyes snapping to Ulfa. The boy was standing on the pail Jala had only moments before overturned, his little hands grasping for a blossoming rose. Jairthing swept up to him, catching him just as he tipped off the pail and towards the roses. Great merciful God, Jairthing muttered, her heart fluttering as she carried the boy through a flower-covered archway and into the little grotto around the fountain. She placed Ulfa down, shooting Jala a glare. You need to keep an eye on him. He's at a precocious age. My responsibility is, Jala began, only to bite her tongue and turn away. Yes, of course, my lady. I saw you bleeding and lost my head. I am fine, Jairthing sighed, slipping out a handkerchief. She wiped off a dirt stain on Ulfa's cheek before rubbing his dark locks. Perhaps I should call for Remothe and Kurtute to aid us. I would rather you worked on something else, came the voice of old Noxric. The gardener stepped around a hedge, holding a few seedlings on a tray. Roses are not ideal for someone whose mind is drawn elsewhere. My mind is right here, along with the rest of me. Jarthing sighed. You're dropping quite a bit of blood there for someone all the way here. Your concern is appreciated, Jarthing muttered, grimacing when she saw how badly she was bleeding. She wrapped the handkerchief around her small wounds, sighing as she pressed them shut. Would those seedlings there in your grasp be more appropriate for me? I should think so, Noxric replied, nodding for her to follow. Jarthing tied off the handkerchief, exchanging a glance with Jala before taking Ulfa's hand and leading him after the gardener. The cooing of doves echoed through the air, the four of them following a winding trail to the dovecote in the corner. Here, a flower bed was half destroyed, something having tried to dig under the side of the dovecote in a vain attempt to get at their eggs. Jarthing knelt down beside Noxric. Taking a trowel he offered. Instead of digging in, she put it into Ulfa's hands, guiding him to the bed. Here, this is how you plant flowers to bloom. Bloom, 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 Ulfa said, his voice making Jarthing's heart ache. Jala stood back, letting out a sigh as she watched, the woman not fond of her lady's gardening. Soothing coos echoed through the air as Jarthing carefully guided Ulfa in his digging, whispering advice into his ear. They had planted the first seedling when Noxric spoke, his voice tired. Lady Jarthing, do you really believe that your time is best spent in the dirt right now? I have loved gardening all my life, she replied, averting her eyes from his. Noxric put his hand on her shoulder. A shiver rolled through her body, a shuddering breath escaping her lips. He's trying to get them killed, isn't he? I cannot look into the hearts of men, Noxric replied. But I do not trust the king's sons as far as I can throw them. Not his sons, Jarthing gritted her teeth, forcing herself to utter the name. Galleon. We should not speak ill of the royal heir, Jala said lamely. Someone may overhear. My father has silenced all such tongues, Jarthing said warily. All who would spread such gossip were expelled from Azurtel years ago, some with bloodied backs to make the point clear. Still, Jala said, wringing her hands as she looked at Ulfa, Galleon may well be the boy's father. Some bastards have no father, Noxric muttered, like me. Enough of this, Jarthing said, her voice tight. Are you all right, Mama? Ulfa asked. She's not your mama, Jala said, striding forward and kneeling down beside him. She smiled gently, squeezing his cheeks. I am. Enough of this. I'm gardening, Jarthing said, her voice tight. She took the trowel from Ulfa and began to dig for herself. Give me the next seedling. As you wish, Noxrick replied, reaching for his tray. Actually, no, I shall do this myself, Jarathing said, reaching over and seizing the tray. I would have you all go elsewhere. My lady, There are other tasks to be done in the garden, aren't there? She asked. See to them. Please, I wish to be alone. As you command, Noxrick replied, rising to his feet and brushing off the dirt. My lady, Jala said, taking Ulfa's hand and giving him a tug. And for El's sake, keep a careful eye on Ulfa, Jarathing shot. I shall, Jala said, her voice wavering. Jarathing looked away, tears welling in her eyes. When she looked again, the three were away, leaving her alone with the cooing of doves. She resumed the planting, even as her mind wandered once more, for one of the roots reminded her of a human figure. Her heart raced, sweat beaded on her skin as she thought of the sneering visage of Galleon standing over her brother, her father, and her cousin in a field of corpses. Now I have you all to me, came his loathsome voice. Jathing blinked, looking down to see that she had stabbed a plant to pieces with the trowel. She took a shuddering breath, muttering, Maybe I am not in the right mind to do any gardening, but I don't know what else to do with myself. God help me, I don't know what to do. In the darkness of Bothnick's tent, only a few hunched shadows on the altar gave any clue as to the true purpose of the portable shrine. The air swirled with the scents of smoke, blood, and incense around the darkened silhouettes of his gods. Othin, Thor, Tyr, Sif, Frigg, and Bern silently loomed in the shadows, watching him, judging him. Bothnick did his morning exercises, slowly lifting himself off the grassy ground with his arms as he counted his 36th push-up. Wind fluttered the sides of the shadowy tent, the dawning sun just peeking in through the flap to cast the statuettes in harsh light. At the pinnacle of each push-up, Bothnick's eyes flicked over the images of his pantheon. He looked into the eyes of the wooden gods and goddesses for any new guidance, but all stared back impassively, mute to the world and to the men who beseeched them. Or maybe I'm trying to hear them in the wrong way, Bothnick thought, rising from the grass. He pricked his finger with a wooden dagger, giving a little blood to Othin and Bern. They will still want for this, even if they are silent to me now. The tent flaps fluttered behind him, the familiar voice of Vaithlin's son muttering, My king, we have lingered here long enough. Too long, you mean? Bothnick sighed, turning to face Sir Capuus. Had the man traded places with his brother, none would notice, even though there were 4 years separating his birth from Vaithlin. To his left was the Valkyrie's daughter, Asrithaer, a fair woman whose helmet bearing the spear-crossed shield covered her auburn locks of hair. To the right, as ever, stood Wistad, who looked more and more like Kalir with each passing day. Once more, the sight unnerved him and gave him hope in seemingly equal measure. Bothnick pushed through his reticence to ask, Has there been any word from Wilhelm or Luthwer? The former is delayed, truly, Capuus replied. The bridge over the Vesting River collapsed. His footmen have been working through the night to make repairs, while his cavalry have crossed over in small boats with their horses under his son's command. The traitor wouldn't send forward his best men in air like that, Bothnick said, letting out a sigh of relief. And Luthwer? He sends his apologies for an unexpected delay, and will send further word when circumstances allow, Wistad said, his voice tight as he put his hand on the hilt of Kalir's sword. I knew we couldn't trust the man. Let us. Bothnik swallowed, his tongue betraying him as his hand shook. I know, we should not jump to conclusions, Capuus said quickly, averting his gaze. Still, the timing is suspect. One should not jump to conclusions, Asir intoned, her green eyes flashing, lest one be willing to face the dire consequences of being wrong. She's right. There is little point in speculations like that now, both Nick said. What of Audhian? Any word from his fleet? Complete victory over Bugunde, though Ursik sailed with him and claims half for himself, Wistad said. That is good, both Nick said, his heart leaping. He shot the quiet altar a final glance, trying to remain calm, to not read too much into some small good news. Shield Maiden, would you do us all the honors? I shall set the idols in their place for transport, Asir there replied, nodding reverently. Good, Bothnik said. We must ride. As you will, Capuus said, bowing before he swept out. Wistad lingered only a moment longer before he drew the flap aside, letting Bothnik step back into the light. All around him, men were feverishly breaking down the tents and packing up bedrolls, steam rising from quenched fires. As promised, Sir Himral had arrived with 100 or so horsemen, the heir of the second most powerful Jarl, speaking quickly with Vedkap. The moment he saw Bothnik, he spurred his horse and approached, nodding his head as he said, My father extends his deepest regrets about the bridge. I am only sorry he may not be here to witness his son winning glory on the field of battle, Bothnik replied, a phrase similar to one he had heard uttered in countless retellings of the old legends and heroic tales, and even his own forebears. Somehow the words seemed weak and small coming from his lips. If Himral thought so, he held his secret well, nodding again as he said, If the gods are good, the bridge repairs will go more quickly than my sister reckons, and his whole host will come upon the enemy in the height of battle. We can but hope, Bothnik replied, a shadow passing over him. He glanced skyward, his stomach turning, for he had been hoping to see a sign from the gods, and perhaps they had sent one in truth. For a flight of vultures was gathering, circling around his army like a black halo. Not the bird I was hoping to see. You think too narrow, my king, the diviner Horthald chortled, marching up to Bothnik with a smile. They would not be following us if they did not believe we would make a great meal for them. That would be what I fear, Bothnik stammered. You have much to learn of the world. Horthald sighed, putting a hand on Bothnik's shoulder and giving him a squeeze. Two meanings come from those words, two ways of hearing the same sentence. You must use your wits. You will, and even your mad rage, to make real the desired meaning. And we should be of aid in that, came the melodious voice of Sir Peperick. The men strode up to Bothnik, his indigo cape and rainbow feathers on his blue felt cap fluttering in the wind. The man looked more like a child about to play a wonderful game than the leader of a sellsword band. He was flanked by his more sober lieutenants, the blond and mustachioed Sir Califac to the right, while to his left was the dark and brooding Mjilnark. Your reputation would concur, Bothnik replied evenly, unsure how much trust to put into men who fought for coin. What say you of the battle to come? We're outnumbered and outmatched, Peperick replied, smirking. Seems to me that divide and conquer is the only viable tactic left to us. And what plan do you imagine when you say such a thing? Vadecap asked, riding up to them with Himral at his side. Bribe Tavir's men into switching sides? Nothing so crude as that, Califrac said quickly. There is a castle ahead, a little barony called Olstadt. We seize the riverlands around it, put it under siege, and force Pethrak into battle on more conducive terrain. Mielnark said. Our longboats could swoop up the watercourse and make any crossing suicide, Himral said evenly, though there is a risk of being caught out in the open if we cannot take the bridges and fords in time. There has never been a war without risk, Vadecap uttered. There are times when a warrior must find his ground and make his stand. Then we have our plan, Bodnik said, waving as a page led his horse over. He felt a twinge of embarrassment when the page turned out to be a finger width taller than he, though he forced himself not to show anything. The only question is, what might Tavir do to halt that plan, and how might we undo his attempts to do so? Thinking in circles like that will drive a man to madness, Peperick laughed, tapping the brim of his hat. But once my men are on the battlefield to come, I may have more words on what I would do were I on the other side. My king, there is a well of Mimere near the road we are to take, Himral said. A drink from that source may offer you a clearer vision. I was going to suggest that myself, came the voice of Asir there, the shield maiden huffing and puffing as she hurried towards them carrying the box of idols. I know the diviner would agree, Bodnek sighed, mounting up. He looked out over the bedraggled band of men he led, the wagon train such as it was, forming up with most hauling their goods on their backs or pack mules. He took a deep breath, his gaze reaching past them towards the war ahead. It would do me no harm to consult the well. Even if the vision you are given is foul? Mielnark asked, smirking. Our fates are our fates, Bodnik replied, tightening his grip on the reins. Nothing we see of what is to come is an excuse to give up. Those are strong words, my lord, Califrac said somberly. So they are, Bodnek murmured, shivering as he heard his father's voice echoing them to him. A ghost of the past telling him how to brave the future. Now, if only I can convince myself to believe him, I may yet be a great warrior.
Dun, dun, dun. I have thoughts. Very much suspicious. I'm with Izzy on that one. And why do I feel like the one person who was like, well, what's going to happen if you don't see what you want to see? Why do I feel like that's very, like, dude playing both sides?
Well, and then there's the one guy that's going, oh, they wouldn't be following us if they didn't think we'd make a good meal for them. Yeah, we'd make their meal!
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, but I don't want it to be my bones that they're picking.
I'm with Bodnik. Like, you just said we'd make a good meal for them, and you're like, oh, now after the fact you want to work, split hairs and do semantics and go, hey, it's all in how you interpret it. What the fuck?
But we say that every week too. It's all in how you interpret the story, how you interpret the writing
yes,
prompt
but
and everything like that. This interpretation is only
better. That
Right.
dude could have
Religion-
said it better. If he wanted to allay his king's fears, he should have said it better.
I'm with you on that. Context is important, and they gave very much context, except for we're fixing to be their dinner.
Yeah, that's what I read it as, and that's what both Nick took it as. Holy sh!
You can't even yell "holy shrapnel" on that one because there is no shrapnel. Oh shit! Izzy's already broke out the duct tape. It's been a minute since she broke out the duct tape.
Got my eyes on you, Death. Got my eyes on you.
We just want to have a chat.
Just want to have a chat.
Will it be 4 hours and you're duct taped to a chair? Probably.
You got the tape roll, Death. That's a good thing. Oh, Maggie! Maggie! Maggie, hello.
Oh,
Like,
she
I'm
kicked off the
a
foot.
can't see me.
She kicked off the foot. Like, here's my toe beans.
Aw.
Hi, baby girl. You want to have a night in the crate tonight? So you can sleep through the whole night? This is the second time she's jumped on me this evening, so. Mommy, protect me! Kieran's being an asshole! Well, what's new?
Kieran's being an asshole, but poor Hades is just like stuck in between trying to play peacekeeper.
Ow, bitch!
Did she just bite you?
She just bit me!
My
I'm
ears.
sure love bite.
Maggie, stop biting your mom. She's yelling in my ears.
Sorry. Alright. Here we go. Well, earlier I yelled and Lex came in. It was like, and I looked over and I was like, what? We're streaming. He goes, oh, I just wanted to make sure that you were okay. I'm like, I'm okay. One of the authors might not be, move this war along. Documancer!
Excuse you.
Yeah, Doc earlier today, I thought I was playing around and I was being funny. Apparently, as text messages go, it's how you interpret it in the manner in which you're reading it. It did not go over well. And I said, I'm trying to be funny. I'm just picking on you. It's fine. You did it before the stream. Bless you.
Nothing like fighting with a cat.
As the crazy cat lady.
I'm now a quokka.
Okay, real quick before we move on to the next one. What exactly is a quokka?
The cutest, most adorable little thing in fucking Australia. And you know how we always talk about how everything in Australia is trying to kill you? The, quokkas are not hardy. Quokkas are not dangerous to humans. In fact, they are probably the most fragile fucking thing over there, which is why you're not allowed to feed them. They will come right up to you. You are not allowed to feed them because you might actually kill them with what you feed them.
Oh, I remember saying that one thing. It's like, do not feed the quokka. He is not hungry. I don't care what he tells you. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. Proceed.
And yet I am so not fragile. I mean, I'm accident
You're not.
prone,
You are
but I
accident prone.
survive
But if you feed,
everything.
yes. But if we feed you the wrong thing or at the wrong time, you can turn into a bit of a gremlin. So I can understand the whole quokka thing.
But
I
if we
mean,
also,
Julie's right. She's right.
yeah. But at the same time, I'm also a stray cat. So if you feed me, I will hang around and love you forever and ask for more.
That's true
With
too.
big boba eyes going. All right, ad break ends in 2.5 minutes. We got 3 left. Real quick, you up for reading docs?
Yeah, I can do that. All right. Okay. There is a disclosure that Doc put in here, and it says this contains religious beliefs and death symbolism in the text. Please take care of your mental health first. Additionally, the concept of life, death, right versus wrong is explored, which are charged topics. The beliefs are only meant to be exercised as fiction and not to be targeted on behalf of any person. All right. Let me get my. So this starts off with a mixtape list. 1. Life's Been Good by Joe Walsh. 2. Dream by Fleetwood Mac. 3. Down the Road by the Bee Gees. 4. Last Dance by Donna Summer. 5. You Really Got Me by Van Halen. 6. Tragedy by the Bee Gees. 7. Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. That would be an interesting mix to listen to. Some really good songs. The mixtape sat next to me in a gift bag, riding passenger as I cruised through the barren highway in the late afternoon. It was an hour before the sky would turn purple, but I was still sweating my balls off. I cranked the AC, but all that did was expel a tired, humid sigh on my slick face. If the weather kept suffocating me like this, I might have to ask to use Wendell's shower when I got there. Carol would complain again, and I'd have to run to the store to get her a nice pie for the trouble. It's the least I could do since I would be using their water. That ain't cheap these days. The Bee Gees harmonized over my stereo, and I couldn't help but echo, even if I couldn't carry a note to save my life. You either hummed like you were painting it black, or you belted like Donna Summers. And I ain't no Keith Richards. That's when I heard something whisper my name between my ears. Charles. I slammed on the brakes. I suppose there used to be a forest nearby because there were a bunch of jagged stumps nestled between patches of crabgrass. On one of them, a red cardinal chirped. I hadn't seen one since I was 12. I don't suppose you said my name, little bird. No one called me Charles, though, not even my own mom. On my other side was a minivan with the hood propped open. Poor thing was puffing out smoke like a tree hugger grooving at Coachella. Someone was stranded. Mom always said good things come to good people. So I parked my car like the philanthropist I was and climbed out with my keys. The sun beat on me when I crossed over the gravel. Hello? I asked. That's when I saw the man. A cool cat in a tie and white collar with his forearms exposed. He must have been military or a sailor because he had tattoos up and down his arms. Maybe he was in Nam. His tats were hard to read, though. Ain't you hot? I questioned. Even his shrug was cool. Man, I really need to go know this guy's name. You any good with an engine? He asked. I ain't too shabby, I said. I slid right underneath the hood and smirked. Name's Brick. For real? As real as a heart attack, pal, I answered. You a Victor? You look rad enough to be a Victor. Actually, he said, leaning against the car, my name is Wendell. How about that? That's my bud's name. His mouth shifted up and into a smile. How about that? The air didn't cool down any as I worked, and that cardinal continued chirping off in the distance. I mimicked his whistle as I poked at this engine with spare gloves Wendell gave me, just in case. But that's all paranoia. If anything, the humidity laid on thick like it was touch-starved. When the sun tucked behind some treetops, my chest knotted up on the inside. It wasn't night yet, and the party wasn't for several more hours. I had time to get over this, finish the engine, and be on my way. Problem? Wendell asked. I waved him off. As good as gold. I focus on something else. I can handle it. These little tremors were just from the heat, so I talked. Where are you headed to? I asked. I got a pickup that I need to deliver, Wendell said. You? Headed to Wendell's, my bud I was talking about. And you stopped for a stranger? That's nice of you. Good things happen to good people, I quoted. One of his brows rose to his forehead, like my mama when I'm over-explaining about Mac Jagger or the Gibb brothers. My neck is sore, but it's just from digging into the engine. I have patience, but boy, it's thinner than her homemade gravy. I sat on the lip of the car, and he joined me with crossed arms, like he wanted to hear more. So I elaborate. It doesn't hurt to do something nice every now and then. For what? He asked. For credit. I was doing this for credit? That wasn't what I meant to say, but it felt wrong to lie. For who? The man, I said, pointing to the sky. Ah, he hummed. You're getting brownie points. I shrugged, but it wasn't as smooth as his. Mine hiked up to my ear. Life's been good to me, I explained, so I may as well be a little nice back. If I'm rotten, I'll get rot back. So, he said slowly, only rotten people get bad luck? Ain't anything about luck, but if that's how you get it, then sure, I said. The sky went from orange to purple, and soon darkness rolled and spanned across the highway. The cardinals stopped chirping, and then any nearby animals fell silent. A quiet waved over as my heart squeezed too hard. I dropped the wrench into the engine. What was that? I tried to shake it off like an etch-a-sketch, but there was still that lingering pain. Why was my heart trying to pick a fight with me? Did I eat something funny? Was the air getting heavier? Charles, Brick Stewart, 31 years old, male, unmarried, born and raised in Pleasant Grove, a man with a big heart who died of heart failure. Says here that heart failure is in your family. Your father died of a heart attack when you were 12. That's heavy. How did he know all that? I tried to ask, but I didn't have enough air. I was starting to think this guy's name wasn't Wendell. I kneeled over, my face smacked as the gravel before my shivering arms could ever break my fall. That's when I saw it. Goat's legs. This guy had goat legs. Even his little tail wagged when he hovered over. Now that I think about it, I don't remember seeing what kind of pants or shoes he was wearing before. Am I hallucinating? Did he drug me with one of those air kind of sicknesses? It'll be slow first, he said, and then it'll all happen at once. When did I get back up to my feet? I wipe my hands, but there isn't any gravel. As I look, I don't even see any gravel. You're dead, Charles, he said, all too calmly. What? No, I just had a little anxiety attack. I always get those, I explained. But I look at my hands again, and they're as transparent as the glass my mama uses to fashion some jewelry. Things were going fine until I stopped to help this guy. Well, no, that's not true. I had a mean headache at the gas station hours ago, and I almost missed my footing in the bathroom on the way over. You're the devil, aren't you? I stammered. I couldn't feel the air anymore. At least it wasn't hot anymore. No, nothing like that, friend. We ain't friends. He smiled. We will be when you understand. He slipped something out from his breast pocket, a memo pad and an index card. Says here that your departure should be soon, so I'll lay it out for you. I am a reaper. We reap souls like they're crops, make sure they go in the places that they're supposed to, report back to more than just the man, as you call him. If my heart was still pumping in my veins, it would have fallen to my feet. So, there ain't a skyman? Did I do something to kick the bucket? There is. There's just a lot of them. And the one whose name you don't utter, and no, nothing like that. The fake gods? He chuckled. Don't let them hear you call them that. But if that's what you want to believe, but I got this. I'm not going to stop you. We're not buds. He shrugged and slicked back his hair. It was an inky black, oozing down his ears like a liquid curtain. Soon enough, Brick. He looked at his wristwatch and then sighed. His whole cool factor sucked away from him, like something weighed on his shoulders. This must have been a rough job. I knew I couldn't do it. What if I had to pick up a kid? I didn't take kindly to being lied to, but I still had a character. But I still had character. Mom raised a gentleman. Something the matter? I asked. He shook his head. It isn't anything like that. I'm just Tired is all. Everything doesn't always run smoothly, and I got a difficult pickup after this. Can't you just, give it to another guy? Like a shift at Ronald's? He laughed and shook his head. It doesn't work like that. We run things by kilometers, and this is my sanction. If I want to take a break or even retire, I need a protege. Did he mean that cheese goes on top of pizza? A what? I asked. A student of sorts. Out of habit, I stroked my red stubble, which is where I get my nickname from. The redness of my hair, not the way I'm built. How does someone become a reaper? I asked. You strike a deal with death, or you owe him, he said, as if it were obvious. He said a bunch of words all at once, but I didn't understand anything from there. I cocked my head like my mom's rat of a dog princess. She was anything but a princess, if you ask me. How do you owe a concept? I asked. Death is sentient. I blinked a few times. Did I hear that right? Death is... What? I think therefore I am. Socrates? Oh, that guy. When the pact expires, he explained, or you don't fulfill your end of the bargain. But if you make a pact, you owe your soul to him. No, I mean, how do you owe this grim guy? All he did was smile. There were two cardinals singing, but their song was in minor. He wasn't going to tell me. So, can't find you a student? I asked. His brow rose again. I thought you didn't like me. Doesn't mean I don't want to help. He chuckled. You're not what I expected, Charles. There is someone I have in mind, but he's way too young right now. I suppose you gotta die before you can get this gig? In a manner of speaking, yes. There are 3 ways to die. Besides the obvious? I asked incredulously. When someone stops saying your name, and when someone stops thinking about you. Oh. My car was still parked on the shoulder. Who would find it? Who would discover that mixtape in the gift bag? Would it reach Wendell in time? Or would it eventually be forgotten? Would Mom cry? Would Wendell and Carol care? I thought about all the people I've helped and wondered who would keep me alive. Maybe I should have picked a different track from Zeppelin. What happens then? I asked. It's different for everyone, but it's their choice. I looked over my lifeless body. Did I not do good enough? Oh, Charles, you didn't die because you did something bad. It was just your time. Are you ready to meet fate? I guess I don't have a lot to worry about now, huh? He gestured to the road, and I obliged. We walked for a few minutes on the road until it was so dark that it was like trying to see through ink. Squinting did nothing, so I gave up, using my ears as best I could. His hooves clapped the asphalt, so I used it as my guide, until 2 hunched shadows gave me any clues as to what direction we were going. Things are a little bit more simple, Charles. That didn't feel right. Hearing my name my dad gave me. I shook my head. You can still call me Brick. Who are they? Oh, you can see them? Interesting. Dun, dun, dun!
Doc, out of all the times that you have revised and resent this fucking in. You left us fucking there? How dare you, ma'am? How dare you?
I liked that one a lot. We need to get Doc writing a full book. I think they'd do really good.
Her, Luna, the whole crew. By the time we're done, we're gonna have books on our shelves, and if not, well, I have a pointy stick.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm with Izzy. You know what? I don't know if a mute might count if she never unmuted it from the story. But we're gonna count this as a mute might or a mic mute. The same thing. Yep.
Technically, I turned it on. I counted to 4 on my fingers, and then I muted it again so that it would count as a mute. Mike.
I got you. I got you. That's the whole thing. You know what? I give Doc a rash of shit. I really do about the oh shit. I forgot to her revising and sending it back in, or she thinks something didn't go right, so she does her thing, she sends it back in, and I'm like, all right, cool. It's like I give her a rash of shit for it just because I can, and I know that she's not going to take it personally when I'm sitting here picking on her. At this particular point, I'm like, look, she sent this in twice today. And this is where the fuck she left it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand leaving us wanting more. I do. I understand. But now he sees somebody. We don't know who the fuck he sees. All the Reaper says is, oh, that's interesting. And then we fucking end. Like, I beg your finest fucking pardon? Whack you with the rose.
It was interesting. Yes, it was very interesting.
Now, did I think when my organ child said, "Ooh, that sounds like mom's been edged before," did I think that it was actually going to come true at the end of the fucking evening? I did not think that that organ child saying, yeah, that I was going to be edged with a 404 at Cliffy at the end of the night. Next!
I do want to say, though, I called that one.
Jeffrey! All right. Ooh. Okay. Warnings. Mild suggestive sexual comments. Gunfight. Title: Wild West Surprise.
Oh, dear Jesus. You know she means business when she stands up and we raise with her.
In the darkness, only two hunched shadows gave any clue as to the scuff marks in front of Dale's home. His hand reached for his revolver strapped to his hip and froze when his two best friends, Sam Moore and Frank Murray, lit the oil lamp and said, "Surprise! Happy birthday, Dale!" Dale stood there, unsure what he should do. Sticking his head back outside, he looked around, his hand twitching with nerves, and slammed the doors shut, startling his friends. Frank moved toward Dale with concern etched on his face and asked, "What's going on, Dale? Someone gunning for you?" Taking off his cowboy hat and brushing off the dust, Dale stared at his worn leather boots, gripping the rim of his hat, and said, "She's heading west, running from the marshals. I can't let her see me, not after the way we parted. If she finds me, I'll be pushing up daisies." Shaking his head, Sam said, "You ain't making a lick of sense. Who you talking about?" Dale moved across the wooden floorboards towards his one good chair and sat down. "Before I found myself settling down, I was a ranch hand out east. The war against the Mexicans left me without a job. Sally reckoned we'd be better off robbing a bank. Broke and in love, of course I joined her." Laughing, Frank said, "You're here now, so it must have paid off. You did open up that abandoned general store." "True, we did. Managed it without killing to boot. I wanted to head west away from the war, but Sally wanted more," said Dale. "So I gave her the slip and took what I could and rode into the night. Thought about making my way to California, but I only made it thus far." "We all have our reasons for moving west," said Sam. "I hear stuff working my shop, including those being hunted by the marshals. I heard Sally joined up with some famous outlaws hitting banks, trains, and even going after cattle. It was only natural she got wrangled up, except she escaped before the noose could do its job, and with my luck, she'll pass through this town." Frank narrowed his eyes and asked, "So what you gonna do, Dale?" Dale asked that question to himself all afternoon, and no answer felt right. He had no proper book learning, just what his ma had taught him out on the prairie. Farm life didn't suit Dale, so he left home and joined a cattle drive as a ranch hand, heading southwest into the desert. Vaguely aware of the different territories and the states joining the Union, Dale didn't give it much thought. Tags from the natives and the outlaws who weren't worried about a few sheriffs and their deputies concerned him more. News had just reached town about the rumors of gold in California, so that was an option. But could he do it? Abandon his new life to avoid his crazy ex turned outlaw on the off chance she passes through? What was he kidding? Not only would she pass through, but Sally would also enter the only general store in town, which he owned. Thinking of another option, Dale asked, "Could one of you run my shop while I lie low till Sally moves on or kicks the bucket? If I don't make it back, you can have it." His friends looked at each other, a silent conversation from years of knowing what the other was thinking, and they both nodded. Frank grinned and said, "The old woman has been nagging at me for years to do something respectable. I got your back." Sam took out a cigar, lit it, and took a strong drag. Letting out a puff of smoke, he said, "If Frank is covering for you in town, I suppose it's up to me to help you lie low. Not to brag, but I've got one of the quickest hands in town, and you'll need an extra gun heading into the desert." Meanwhile, Sally rode through the desert, running from the law, or perhaps running away from herself. Only time would tell. Spurring her horse forward, Sally gripped the reins as she weaved through the desert brush. Riding through the night, relying on the full moon, she was risking everything to throw off those marshals. One false step and her horse would end up with a lame leg, giving those pesky marshals a chance at finding her if the desert didn't claim her first. They have been a nuisance ever since that botched job. The marshals surrounded them during a bank robbery, killing half of her friends while the other half tried escaping. Taking a bullet in the shoulder that knocked her off her horse, Sally thought she was a dead woman. If it hadn't been for the few who escaped saving her, she would be long gone by now. Shame about Tom and Jerry. They went through all the effort to save me just to get gunned down as we were making our escape. Joining her friends in another unmarked grave near the gallows, she didn't know what infuriated her more, that she might die or that Dale was right to quit after that first job. That didn't mean she wouldn't put a bullet between his eyes for double-crossing her and taking the money with him. I mean, as one does. Cresting the ridge, Sally could make out a small town in the distance, a fine place to lie low before moving on to California. Just you wait. I'll find a rich man and live comfy for the rest of my life. There's bound to be a few with the news of all that gold being found. Anyone would be better than that thief who'd rather run away. Not wanting to risk running into danger at night, Dale decided to make his escape the next morning after showing Frank how to run the store. A choice he would soon learn had unexpected consequences. I can already, quick aside, I can already see it now. These two bitches meeting up in the desert trying to avoid. Dale, you dumbass. Okay. Dale's heart pounded as he ducked inside the saloon and peeked through the window at the one woman he never wanted to see again. Well, I'm fucked. A sultry voice behind him said, I beg your pardon, Mr. Dale, but I require the money up front if you want my services. Eyes locked on Sally walking outside, Dale said, Not what I meant, Beatrice. I do appreciate the thought, though. Dragging his gaze away from the window, Dale turned only to find the most voluptuous woman west of the Mississippi River leaning over. If he didn't know better, her assets were about to fall out, and by the way she looked at him, she knew he hoped they would. Unfortunately, a woman who would love nothing better than to show off how good her aim is on me just appeared, and I'd rather not be around to find out how that ends. Beatrice traced a finger along his jaw, winked, and said, If you need to hide, I can take you to my room. I have a few holes of my own that need some attention for the right price. Ignoring the growing desire, Dale took her hand and kissed her knuckle and said, If I make it back alive, I promise to take you up on that offer. I'd be so thankful I would even marry you. Cheeks turning a shade of red, Beatrice stepped back and took out her fan to cover her face and said, Careful, Mr. Dale. I may take you up on that offer, and I'm an expensive woman to please. Dale leaned in and kissed her cheek on the way out and said, You would be worth every cent, and exited the saloon. Slipping around the back of the saloon away from the main street, Dale forced himself to walk casually toward his home. Keeping his head down, he whispered, Just get home and ride away with Sam. You can do this, Dale. What you up to, Dale? Why ain't you working the store? I saw you open up shop earlier, said a man leaning against a building. Dale looked up and groaned inside. It had to be the deputy. It's not like he could tell him his crazy outlaw ex-girlfriend was in town and wanted by the marshals. That would lead to questions about his past he didn't feel like sharing. I got business elsewhere today, Bob. I asked my friend to look after the general store. The deputy walked up to Dale, eyed him suspiciously, and said, I have a nose for funny business, and right now you stink. Racking his brain for a response, Dale said, I just got done chatting with Beatrice in the saloon. It would be a shame if she found out, and let the rest hang between them. Bob took a step back and said, What you on about? I ain't saying nothing about her. Everyone in town knew Bob had an eye for Beatrice and used most of his wages to pay for her time. Like I said, Bob, I have business. Let me pass and we can forget this chat ever happened. Before Bob came up with something else to say, Dale walked past the deputy and continued toward his home. When he reached the end of town, he looked across the open expanse of dirt where his home stood. It was a simple, 2-room wooden structure with a porch and a small shed. It used to belong to the owner of the previous general store before he took a bullet during a robbery. At least, that's what Dale heard. Pardon me. Crossing the distance, Dale thought about Beatrice, a young woman who had traveled west with her husband, who died in an attack by the natives. They captured her with a few other women, but she escaped when another group of travelers attacked the captors and followed their trail after finding the dead. With no other choice, Beatrice joined the travelers, continuing west. Without her man to protect and provide for her, all she had to survive was her body, so she made the most of it. Dale respected her perseverance, and he couldn't deny her charm. Sam sat on the porch next to the hitching post that secured 2 horses with packs strapped to their backs already. When he saw Dale, he waved him over, offering a swig from his flask and asked, "Any trouble getting Frank set up?" "No," Dale said, taking a long swig and handing it back. "But we gotta go. She's here." He stared at Dale, then took a long swig himself. After sealing the flask, Sam walked over and stored it in his bag and said, "Then what are we waiting for? Let's go." Dale double-checked his revolver, hopped on his horse, and steered it toward the dirt road. All he had to do was... "Dale? Is that you, you thieving good-for-nothing?" said Sally, standing near the edge of town. Digging his spurs into his horse, Dale held on to the reins and said, "Ride like the wind, Sam." 2 shots fired in his direction, followed by, "Running won't do you a lick of good. I'm coming for you." Heart pounding, sweaty palms gripping the reins until his knuckles turned white, his past came to kill him. Dale weaved around prickly pear and bald cactus.
Oh, yep. It's like flickering in and out on my screen here.
Okay, refresh.
That's what they want to see.
All right, folks, refresh. Running from one threat into the territory of the Northern Paiute didn't fill him with confidence. If he avoided their settlements, he would be relatively safe unless he ran into a war party. The increase in settlers making their way to California had soured relations lately. Dale's best bet was losing her in the nearby mountain range. He stared out at the relatively flat landscape and thought his chances were slim. Sam, keeping pace with Dale on his black stallion, said, "Let me shoot her. I can do it." "I know you're fast, Sam, but Sally has a Colt Patterson just like us, and she can hit any target within 50 yards. If she has a rifle, too..." Risking a glance behind him, Dale saw a figure off in the distance heading toward them and closing in. "We need to find a way..." "How, Dale? We are hours away from anything that isn't flatlands," said Sam, cutting off Dale. Out of any better options, they rode on, betting their horses would last longer than Sally's, a bet that almost paid off. Almost. "Stop running. We both know how this is going to end, Dale," said Sally, closing the distance. They had reached an incline that led up the slope with the promise of a place where they could find shelter and make a stand. Sam pointed out a large rock nearby. Dale replied, "You never knew when to quit, Sally." Then turned to Sam and said, "We need a place to hide and make a stand." Sam pointed out a large rock nearby and steered his stallion towards it. Dale redirected his horse and yanked the reins back and jumped off, his hand already reaching for the Colt Sally had bought him before their bank robbery, prepared to defend himself. Everyone had up to 5 shots before needing to reload. It just took one well-aimed shot to end it all. He peered around the edge of the rock and ducked back. Hand shaking, he turned to Sam, about to warn him she had hopped off her horse 60 yards out with a Hawken rifle aimed in their direction, when Sally fired. Blood splattered across his face. Sam flew backward, taking the bullet in the face. Come on, Dale. It only fires one at a time. Now's your chance. Leaning around the edge with his Colt, he tried aiming and grimaced at Sally closing the distance. Hand shaking too much to aim, he was helpless. Sally fired one bullet, missing his head, hitting the rock, causing shards to fly. Her second shot took him in the shoulder, causing him to jerk. Wincing from the pain, he swapped his gun to his offhand and scrambled over his dead friend and fired as soon as he saw her missing, but forcing Sally to halt her advance. Your friend is dead, Dale. You have 4 bullets left to my 3, but I only need 1. Do us both the trouble and give up, said Sally, full of confidence. How? Gray wolves? Dale looked down at Sam in the blood. Hear that, Dale? If I don't kill you, the wolves will do it for me. This is what you get for running away with my money. Stalling for time, Dale said, I'm not the one the marshals are looking for. With nowhere to run since the horses bolted when Sam died, Dale took a deep breath and tossed a rock into the air. Let's end this, Sally. A shot passed over Dale's head. He stood up, and 2 shots rang out simultaneously. Only one hit its mark. One was enough. Dun, dun, dun.
But who shot?
We don't know. We don't know whose shot found its target. We don't know. We don't know. And that face, Jeffrey, you better write another installment of this, or never let Julie find out where you are, because she might find a way to track you down, and I don't think even I can save you.
I just want to have a chat. I may or may not bring the duct tape. Or a Louisville Slugger.
He ended it exactly at 2,500 words.
Well, good for fucking you! I still don't know who the fucking shot rang out! And the wolves? Are these real wolves? Are these fucking werewolves? And like, are we in some sort of like, supernatural bullshit? Like, what the fuck is going on? Who's getting eaten?
Hey, Jeffrey, you got her attention.
Yeah, I'm with Sticks.
Rose! Folks, we're moving on before Julie has a coronary.
Probably not the worst idea. We need Julie. We like her.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what Rose did for us this week.
Is that me?
If you'd like to.
Just a second.
Oh.
Okay.
Am I fixing to have another? Is he just?
I was fixing the blur.
Okay. Expand this. In the darkness, only two hunched shadows gave any clue as to where we were. Those are the two guards Grace warned me about. The king had ordered them to keep track of who entered and left Winterjoy. I should be able to pass since I'm not any band or watch lists. Yet. The guards don't even look at me as I walk past. The path ahead has barely any lights. Go on, Ruby encourages me to continue walking, though I'm not a fan of this decor. Green walls with moss and vines, dirt and leaves on the ground. The bushes rustle, probably some animal. I stop walking as I see something in the path, squinting my eyes to see it in the darkness. In the middle of the path is a small purple frog with a crown on its head. Not the strangest thing I've seen, but definitely still strange. That's Bob, king of the... I hear her try to hold back a laugh. King of the... Frogginos. I look down at the small king. Did he come up with that name, or did the ruler before him? 'Cause, okay. The king flicks his long blue tongue at me, and I instantly step back. I think he's challenging you to a duel. My eyes glance back at Ruby, who's watching with an amused look on her face. You're technically in his territory, too. Or territory. So... I take a step back, and I'm not trying to fight no king of the frogs today. Don't try and run. He'll jump after you. He's surprisingly faster than he looks. She pats my shoulder as if that would comfort me. More frogs, or frogginos, jump out of the darkness. The king's dark eyes look into mine. I don't want to fight. What if I just don't? A strange but non-violent idea comes to mind. You seem like a very powerful king. The opposite of violence is peace and love. Therefore, compliments shall be my weapon tonight. I quickly sidestep as the king jumps at me. He lands on the floor behind me with a quiet thud, yet again flicking his tongue out at me. That was impressive. I'm shaking in my shoes. Really. I'm really hoping my dodging skills are good enough to not get licked by this frog. I can hear Ruby's muffled laughs as I continue to try and get on this king's good side. Watch out, he's poisonous, Ruby shouts. My head snaps toward her. What the heck? If only I wasn't the only one who could see her. The things I would say, but if I did, the king would think I've lost my mind. I turn back to him and his minions. I'm not here to fight you, your greatness. I only wish to visit the town of Winterjoy and possibly find a place to stay the night, so please? He looks me up and down before making croaking sounds towards the others. The frogs repeated back, slowly retreating back into the shadows. I think he's sparing you, out of pity. I roll my eyes as she speaks. But thank goodness. The king jumps off the path, allowing me to pass by without a single flick of his tongue. That was so embarrassing, I whispered once we were away from the frogs. Yeah, but it was hilarious, she claimed. I mean, frognos are basically the monster version of frogs. I nod. That was obvious, but why the heck would they attack a child? I didn't do anything intimidating, right? Don't think too hard about it. Just weird frogino stuff. We continue down the path, and slowly, one light at a time, I can see our surroundings. A dark sign with big letters says, Winter Joy. Oh my gosh, sorry about that. A dark sign with big letters says, Winter Joy. Finally, we made it. Beyond the sign, the path is now lined with shops and buildings. I stop in front of one that has big inn sign above it. Hopefully it doesn't cost too much. I don't have a lot. We enter the inn, and a friendly sheep person checks me in. 52 coins, she says happily, watching me dig through my pockets. I grab out 50 and then 2 coins, setting them on the counter. The sheep takes them and then hands me a little key with a number tag. Room 44 on the second floor. Enjoy your stay. She smiles, moving her side bangs away from her eyes, which I notice have a white pupil instead of black. And ignoring the strange, pretty eyes, I ascend the stairs, looking at all the photos on the walls. Some have families, others have one person standing alone. The halls are dimly lit in a warm yellow color, candle flames dancing on the walls. The door slightly creaks as I open and step inside, Ruby following behind me. The door shuts with a soft click. The room is cozy. Just like the rest of the inn. The lamp by the bed is shaped like a pretty flower. I've never seen one like it before. I walk over and crawl into my bed. My feet and ankles are so sore. I can't believe I didn't notice it before. Ruby simply floats by the side of the bed, tilting her head to the side. Tired? She asks, though I think she already knows the answer. I stretch across the soft blanket, sinking deeper into the comfortable mattress with a soft sigh. After a long day, this is heaven. Are you going to sleep? I ask her, my eyes closing. She doesn't answer right away. The wind outside is the only sound filling the silence. Sure, why not? Then silence. After a few moments, I feel myself slowly drifting off. What are you going to do? I almost missed the soft whisper after all of this. My eyes flutter open, finding her floating on her bed, just resting above the ground. I've thought about the answer many times before, imagining every possible ending. I'm going to go home and I'm going to hug my parents. The words feel more like a promise to myself than just a normal answer to a question. I miss my parents. My mind has to focus very hard to even remember their faces. I wish they could tell me what to do. I would have never said that before, but they always knew what to do. What are you going to do? I direct the question to her. I've always wondered if she had a plan or if she was just tagging along with mine. I don't know. It makes something in my heart ache. She sounds sad. Just rest, like the period at the end of the sentence. That was the period of the end of this conversation. I try hard not to push when she shows emotions like sadness or anger. but I hope she knows she can talk to me if she needs to. Even if I don't have any advice to give, I always listen. The night fades into darkness, minutes flying by like seconds. Knock, knock, knock. Someone frantically and loudly knocks on the door, sending my entire body upright in the bed. Outside is pitch dark along with the room. The only light source coming from beneath the door, along with the shadow of 2 feet standing outside it. Dun dun dun! I like the Frog King. Or Frogano King. That was cute. But why'd you have to go and leave us hanging there? Probably the perfect spot, but
I mean,
everyone's leaving us hanging tonight.
Uh-huh. Now the question is it hanging a little bit to the left or the right?
Yeah, because it's never
I'm so
down the
glad
damn
I'm wearing
center.
earplugs. I'm so glad I'm wearing my mic right now because my son's on the other side of the wall. Sorry, was that loud?
No,
No,
you
we were
both were talking at the same time.
Jinx. Izzy.
See, I don't have a
Rose,
problem with sound volume so much. Specific decibels will fuck with the ear. But what really fucks with me is when I've got two opposing sounds at the same time. That'll get me. Rose needs to keep writing. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, this one, because they are younger, I'm not going to give them the same threat that I would give somebody who is a little bit older. But I will say this: I have gummy bears and hot chocolate, and we need to have a chat. Because I'm going to encourage and nurture. And who doesn't like a good hot chocolate? Besides Izzy, because she doesn't really like chocolate.
Well, here's my problem. I have to have it with milk. None of this hot water crap.
No, absolutely not.
And until recently, I didn't. Lactate has done a really good job of making sure that their milk product that does not have lactose tastes like actual milk. Because I tell you what, people are like, oh, you should drink skim milk. You should drink 2%. You should drink 1%. And I'm like, fuck y'all and the horse you fucking rode in on. Because vitamin D milk actually tastes watered down to me. When you have had it from the glass jar, from the cooling tank, directly from the cow's teat, nothing on that store shelf is going to come any close to what it's actually supposed to fucking taste like. So,
Yeah, it's never going to become the correct thing from the source.
yeah, no. So we're lucky I do vitamin D. But now I have lactate, which is close enough. All right. So, folks, you're going to have one less day to write. But that's okay. Because a lot of you are like, at the more time we give you, the more time you double guess yourself. Why don't you just hang on to it until Saturday morning? Go back over it, edit, visit, blah, 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 blah. Then Saturday morning, turn it in instead of turning it in and going, "Ooh, I take that one away. Do this one. Oh, no, take that one away." And for the record, Doc is not the only one who has done that. Okay.
No, they are not.
So this is not singling her out in any capacity whatsoever. But I'm just saying, you guys are so in a rush to get it done and sent in. Take time with it.
Right. And I mean, I can understand when, we're getting up to that point of the year where we're going to end up with more submissions because, those of us who have kids going back to school and we're going to have a little bit more time, things like that. I completely understand. But at the same time, we want you to feel confident in what you submit.
Take a little bit of time with it. Revisit it.
If it just so happens you end up on a Sunday night instead of a Saturday night when we have to run a double night,
which
so be it.
Is honestly rare anymore.
Right.
We haven't done double nights in a hot minute. All right, I have got the master document up.
We ready?
We be ready.
128.
Submitted by Julie DeFisher.
Shit.
A character goes on the run to escape their normal life and runs into someone too hot to handle. What is it, and how do they deal with it?
That's some shit right there. X number 105.
Far below the fortress, the river glowed faintly blue.
And the last one, 29.
Submitted by Julie DeFisher. What have you done with my pills? I need them. There they are on the screen. One concept: a character goes on the run to escape their normal life and runs into someone too hot to handle. What is it, and how do they handle it? Number 2, opening line: far below the fortress, the river glowed faintly blue. And dialogue: what have you done with my pills? I need them.
I don't even remember what I did for that one or how we got that one.
I
Shit, concept and dialogue are battling it out. Concept just leaped ahead. Come on, we got 12 people in here. Vote, vote, vote. Marteo, we do not speak Greek.
or yeah. Marato.
Yeah, I was
Russian.
about to say it looks Russian.
Yeah, it looks more Russian. It's all right. It's all right.
It's fine. You didn't know.
There, clear again. I barely even moved, and it just made me all blurry. All right, polls running down. Which one shall we? Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay. So
Yep, we are a writing prompt show where audience picks what the next week's writing prompt is going to be, which is concept this week. And everybody has until Saturday at 3 p.m. Central to write up to 2,500 words and submit, which instructions can be found on our Beacons link, which can be found on our profile. And that winning prompt is to use the concept that a character goes on the run to escape their normal life and runs into someone too hot to handle. What is it and how do they handle it? So, there we go. Fantastic. Now, this next week should be just fine and dandy. Okay, I do have to work Saturday morning, but that is okay. Yay for only having to work 4 hours and 15 minutes on a Saturday. But your hostesses with the mostesses are very, very exhausted after the last week and a half, 2 weeks leading up to the event. And all those little wrench charms found their way to new homes. Not all of them. Julie has leftovers. So, if anything, who knows? She can send them out in little gift baggies and purchases and whatnot when we get going on that. So we are going to love you all lots, but we're going to go ahead and end out. As Stick said, we are going back to our regularly scheduled programming, and he's going to go enjoy a mild coma. I now have an AC unit in my room. I am going to go comatose.
I think we all are.
Yes. So no after show probably tonight in the Discord. However, as you all know, you are more than welcome to hang out there, even if none of us are there, and to help each other out, to do whatever. you got going on. So thank you again for another great week. Lots of 404s this time. Y'all just love putting us in coronaries and but I don't know if Julie's going to be able to do the lead out. I don't know. I can't see because she's not in the center of the freaking camera. There you is. Nope. All right. As we know, okay, we all love your faces. We're exhausted. You're exhausted. We love your love and support. We love you and support you in any way possible. Check out the forums. Check out the Discord. All the things. And if you get arrested, I'm sorry, you're on your own. We are all flat broke at this point. We don't even have any money for your commissary. But assert dominance early. You may be safe. We don't know. But regardless, you're beautiful. And if nobody told you this week, we're proud of you.
Yes, every last one of you.
Yep.
All right. Show up on Friday night for Book for Friday. We've got our night on, and it's also her book release party. If you do not know who our night is, please look at the newsletter for that information. Izzy's got a couple of books. Hold on a second. Vanna White? Yes, that one right there. Our night. She's got a motorcycle series. Her newest one will be releasing either as just released or we're just before the release for the release party. Yeah, don't add, don't subtract, don't end up in the newspaper or jail. Otherwise, we love you. We'll see you on Friday night. Have a great week and try to remain positive because the more you dig your heels in, the more the world has got to bend to your fucking will. So, love you guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.